Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. We're all together here. That can only mean one thing, and that thing is, it is time. What time is it? Prime time. Today, we are going to be back at it again, casting some more Primeval Titans, and seeing if our opponent decides to quit the game. And you may recognize this list as being the same from my last league, and that's because I'm not making any changes. I like the way it played last time. There's a potential argument to, say, playing one of Sakura Tribe Scout as an additional 1-drop, but I don't really think it's necessary. You may notice that Amulet is back by popular demand, of course, as you can see from all of the comments requesting for Amulet on my previous video. There's tons of them if you look really hard. So, with that said, make sure you leave your own comments, and I will listen to them and take your suggestions. But until then, I guess I'm just doing what I want. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight into a league with this deck. There will be a few jump cuts here in this video as my computer's being a little slow today, so if you found yourself magically here listening to me when the last thing you saw was me looking at a deck list page, then do not be surprised, because that is the reason. Alright, let's just hop straight into it. Can we be on the play, please? Guess we can't. Okay, so we've got a turn 3 Azusa or Dryad. We turn 3 a Dryad, we're 2 lands away from getting a Titan on turn 4. I don't know. But we do have an Explorer. I'm gonna mulligan it. It's a little greedy, but I'm just not a huge fan of this hand. I think it's too slow on the draw. Let's see about this hand. Well, this one has a turn 2 Amulet. We get a draw as well. We can ship either Redundant Titan or a Summoner's Pact, depending. I'm not sure which one of those is better, but we'll come to that when we get to that decision. I'm gonna keep this. We really need to hit some land drops, though. I do think it's going to be better to ship the Pact. If this were a Dryad instead of a Azusa, then there might be an argument to keeping the Pact in case we need to Pact for Azusa if we happen to draw a second Amulet, but we don't have that, so instead, I'm gonna get rid of the Pact. And when I say we don't have that, what I mean is, if our Azusa gets discarded, for example, then there isn't another Azusa to Pact for, so. Alright, I'm gonna lead on the T-West here. So that way, in the future, we'll have more blue sources in play to potentially transmute either this T-West or another one, depending on if we draw a blue bounce land. Double Blackleaf Cliffs, eh? Young Pyromancer. This immediately reminds me of Mardu Pyromancer. It hasn't been a deck for a while. So we have a second Amulet. That's interesting. I'm definitely going to play it, I think. And then next turn we can play Sanctuary. Float 4. Bounce it. Play Azusa down to 1 floating. Play Sanctuary again, and then we will have a Titan. So, no, they're going to Inquisition our Azusa here, so I don't know. Maybe we should have kept the Pact. No, wait. No, we still have Titan this upcoming turn anyways. Okay, well, I think they're just dead, unless we happen to draw Slayer Stronghold here or something. I doubt that they can beat one of these Primeval Titans. Well, actually, I think we might be able to get both into play. Yeah, I think this is going to be game. We'll see, though. It doesn't matter. I'm going to play the one that they know about. This hand panned out quite nicely, I must say. So this is going to get a bounce land and then another land, so we can cast our second Titan, and that one's going to get Garrison and Stronghold and haste them both. So I'll just do this, I suppose. It doesn't really make a difference. So now we're going to be able to haste both, and I think double strike both as well. So we'll get Garrison and Stronghold. It's this one. Paste that one. And we'll pick up the Stronghold, I suppose. And on these attack triggers, the first one's going to get 2 bounce lands that can tap for Sunhome mana. So we'll get Gruul Turf and should have another Selesnya Sanctuary. There it is. And here, this is the power of a second Sanctuary, because this is our only other white source. We already had the one Sanctuary in place, so it would have been a little difficult to play around floating a white mana there. I'm not sure if it's even possible with my current configuration, but because I'm playing the second Sanctuary, this turn becomes just very easy. I'm sure some Titan aficionado will come in and let me know how, if I were playing a regular list, I would have access to a white mana here. Maybe say with like a Crumbling Vestige or something, but we get T-West and Sunhome, and I think that they are dead. Yeah, we'll stack both Sunhomes first. There was a point in time where I played a singleton Gemstone Mine in the deck so that there was a white source available. One second. I don't want to mess this up. Yeah, there was a point in time where there was a Gemstone Mine as a white source that would not force you to bounce a land when it came into play. In this case, I don't think it actually matters. But in other cases, like if you want to keep lands in play for, say, a field, or like for a Dryad, if you want to be able to activate Valakut several times, then leaving the land in play can be very important. There's also some people play a copy of Crumbling Vestige. I must say this hand panned out quite well. So some kind of black-red Pyromancer deck. I'm going to imagine here that Explosives is pretty good. I think Baloth is probably going to be pretty fine as well. Chameleon Colossus seems good. They'd have to like double bolt it or something if they only had red removal to get rid of it. I like Tracker. There could be, say, like a Blood Moon or something. They didn't reveal a companion either, so there could be Blood Moons or Fulminator Mages. Since I already have a game, I don't know if I want to sideboard against Blood Moon. Possibly bringing in a Rexage, or maybe even the Force of Vigor also wouldn't hurt. Although they could have Ashiok. So what I'm going to do to hedge is I'm going to bring in the 2 Beast Withins and leave these 2 guys in the board. And then Dismember kills a Pyromancer, but I think our answer to a Pyromancer is just playing a Titan, or blocking off all the tokens with Feel the Dead tokens. Something along those lines. I don't know if Dismember is going to be particularly useful here. If they have something like Lightning Skelemental, then Dismember becomes much better. It's possible we want some number of Dismembers. I'm going to start by shaving 1 Gruul Turf, because of the aforementioned, like, Fulminator Mages, or something along those lines, Pillage. They almost always have something like that. I'm going to cut a Summoner's Pact. Just 1, I think, for now. And some Stirrings. Amulet seems pretty good against them if they don't have any green mana, because they don't have very efficient ways to interact with Amulet. Grazer, however, seems like a worse top deck. They don't seem like they're aggressive enough for Grazer blocking to actually matter. Then we would need to cut 1 more. I'm kind of thinking of just cutting another Stirrings, to be honest. I know a user on MTG Nexus by the name of Food Chain Goblins. He's mentioned a few times about his thoughts on cutting stirrings versus just cutting extra lands. I don't know if I like spending mana to find more lands. I'd rather just naturally draw the lands and not have to worry about it. But it's possible there's some merit to cutting lands instead of ancient stirrings. I'm not really sure, though. I'll definitely look into that a bit more later, but for the moment, I'm just going to make it a stirrings and go with it. It's definitely worth noting, though, that cutting lands might be a reasonable alternative. I like this hand. Yep, I like this hand. Not much else to say about it. Turn 1 Valakut, turn 2 Explore, into a Growth Chamber. Seems decent. It's a little weak to land destruction effect, but so be it. Well, it's not particularly weak to a land destruction effect anymore. I might still play out the Growth Chamber on this Explorer in the future anyways, depending on what our hand looks like and the threats that they've deployed by that point. Mainly because playing the Growth Chamber will allow us to have an untapped land to put one of these two guys in play. So, to be honest, it's probably just going to be Chameleon Colossus, because I can save this for a Kolgan's Command or a Kroxa or something along those lines. There is a white, so I was thinking, I don't know if I mentioned this before, I might have, but the deck reminds me quite a lot of Mardu Pyromancer. I think I did mention that. Obviously, there's no Faithless Looting, so perhaps that's the reasoning for the Ransack the Lab inclusion. But yeah, since this deck seems like it's in the same vein as Mardu Pyromancer, I'm gonna play around a Fulminator Mage by just playing out this Vesuva. I can still get a tap land out of the way and still be able to play a 4-drop next turn with our Forest. The Vesuva was actually a decent draw there. I mean, Fulminator blowing up our 1 Valakut would still be a little problematic, but it's definitely something that we can deal with. Seasoned Pyromancer is not particularly threatening. Although it does block this Chameleon Colossus pretty well. So I'm definitely playing a 4-drop, so I'm going to go ahead and play this Forest. The question is, am I playing the Colossus, or am I playing the Baloth? I think I want to get the Colossus into play. It doesn't match up particularly well against these red blockers, but it plays better around a potential Thoughtseize. And that's something I'm thinking about. Although, to be honest, Thoughtseize would most likely just take this Titan anyways. Regardless, if I attack with it, and they block with all of their creatures, then that forces me to tap out my mana for the rest of that turn. So, I don't know if I'm willing to make that trade. If they just want to trade their whole board... Oh. This is fine. Also, the fact that I'm seeing a basic swamp and a fetch land here, I'm thinking more and more about Blood Moon. Obviously, it can't come down this turn. I mean, unless they had like a Simian Spirit Guide or something, but fetching for a basic mountain maybe signals that it's not Blood Moon, though. Interesting spot. So, a Growth Chamber lets me cast a Titan next turn. I think the play is to swing with my Colossus, slam Baloth, and then Growth Chamber to pick up a land. I mean, I could also just pay 4 and clock them with the 8/8 here, but I don't really want to do that just yet, to be honest. The Lingering Souls also make the Colossus look kind of bad. I think they can still block, right? They're just white spirits? Yep. Okay, well, here's a Baloth. And then we've got 2 Titans if they have a discard spell. We're a little weak to a land destruction effect, but we're still far enough ahead, I think, that it's fine. We'll just pick up untap land here. And then if they play something problematic like a Blood Moon, we still have Beast Within with 2 basic forests in play. Again, the Vesuva being a basic forest because it came into play before the Blood Moon. If it comes into play after the Blood Moon, it just enters as a Vesuva that is a mountain and doesn't get to copy anything. But since it's already copied a basic forest, this would remain a basic forest as long as it's on the battlefield while before the Blood Moon enters. So they've got a blocker army here. I'm not surprised to see no attacks. They haven't... Oh, wow. That was pretty good. Is that better than just playing a Titan this turn, though? Unclear, to be honest. It's pretty unclear. Because if I blow up explosives on 0 to kill all of their tokens, and then crash with both of these guys, they probably just chump block with the Seasoned Pyromancer and leave the Young Pyromancer in play and potentially generate a big board next turn. And this also would leave me weak to double discard spell, which admittedly, since they didn't cast one last turn, they probably don't have 2 discard spells, but I mean, it would be huge head games if they did. I think it's just best to get a Titan into play here, as tempting as the explosive seems. Yeah, I think that's going to be the play. Do I attack anyways? If I attack with the Colossus, then with just the Colossus, then they can declare blocks, and if it's going to trade with the Colossus, I could then threaten to pump. I'm playing explosives for 0 and pop it. I don't hate that. I'm going to go ahead and attack with this Colossus first, and depending on how they block, that might inform my decision. I expect a chump block here, though, to be honest. Just put an elemental or a spirit in front of it, and nothing else. Yep. Okay, well, it's Titan time. Boom. So this is going to get a field. I mean, the field's not doing anything yet, so maybe I don't want to expose the field to removal just yet. I can also get a breeding pool, so I can transmute the Solari West. I think breeding pool plus Boros Garrison makes sense to me, so that the next Titan can haste. It can be hasted with the... will not pay. So their next Titan can be hasted with the red-white mana from it. And the breeding pool lets us transmute TOS if we need to do that instead. I don't know if I should have attacked with the Baloth there as well. I don't think it really accomplishes much. I think I'd rather just keep as healthy a life total as possible. Oh, they have a bolt. Okay. That's not the end of the world. They have to answer this Titan and the next one. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we actually can play and haste this Titan next turn, so we just have to fade a discard spell, draw step here. We'll eat this Pyromancer for sure. Get that guy right out of play. The question is... Oh, well, if they're just going to tap out here, then there is no question. It's just play and haste the Titan. I was going to say, if they don't tap out here, can we afford to get blown out by a removal spell to kill my Titan? But, thankfully, our opponent very graciously allowed us to not even have to consider that line. So, here's a Titan. We'll get a bounce land and Slayer's Stronghold. And this time the bounce land will be... We already have a Valakut in play, so I guess we just want Sanctuary. Although maybe more blue sources is better. Nah, Sanctuary is fine. I don't think it makes a difference. We will play the Stronghold. We will haste this guy. And now we get to attack. And now we have plenty of land names. Well, I'll double check anyways, but we should have plenty of land names covered for fields. We have Forest, Sanctuary, Slayer Stronghold, Breeding Pool, Garrison, Growth Chamber, Valakut. So that's already 7. So definitely getting Field of the Dead is one of the names here. And it could be Bog to exile the remaining Lingering Souls, but we have that covered with an Explosives. It could be Radiant Fountain to make sure that we don't get juked out here. I don't know how much. So we're about to get 2 zombie blockers, so we can block 2 elementals. We'll be taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and we can block with a Titan if we want to, since we have a TUS as well. So we're gonna be taking 4 here, it looks like. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. The maximum that we're taking here is 4 damage, unless maybe they have something to destroy our creatures. Although, to be honest, I'm pretty happy if they spend 2 mana to power out a Lingering Assault. Although that's less the case if they make me discard the explosives. I think it's a little safer to go with Bog here, so I'm gonna go with that. I think the 2 life is unlikely to matter from the Radiant Fountain, so I'm just gonna make this play. It's a shame that we had to use our land drop to haste the Titan instead of playing after, so we could get an extra field activation. In fact, being able to get a Vesuva copying one of our pre-existing bounce lands and field, picking up the Vesuva and playing it copying the field to get 2 more zombies instead of 1 more zombie, that would have been fantastic. But did not have that to our disposal. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. Another Pyromancer is no big deal. I got 1 card in hand. It really needs to be a discard spell, because if this explosives on 0 resolves, I think they're just out of this game entirely. I'll play it. I don't care about my 2 zombies. Yeah, I'll attack first, I suppose. Yeah, it's fine. And we'll search. We'll get the Vesuva copying the field, and we'll get Sunhome, I guess. I don't think it matters. We will be killing all of our zombies here if we have to blow the explosives, but I don't really know what their plan is here, to be honest. Because putting all these in front of a Primeval Titan does nothing. Yeah, we just blow the explosives, kill all their blockers, and then we trample over for 6. So, that blocking order, that's fine. And we'll just blow this explosives right now, and that should be game. Take 6. Okay. Nice, simple match. Let's go back to the details. So, we are now 1-0. Starting off strong with a very convincing match 1. I guess we'll just call that Mardu Pyromancer? I'm still not entirely sure exactly what their plan was overall. I saw a lot of tokens with Seasoned Pyromancer and Young Pyromancer. Well, I guess it's Mardu Double Pyromancer, eh? But yeah, if you like my content, leave a like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what I can do to improve the experience for you guys at home. And I will see you again for match 2. This is Red Face Menace, signing off.